Hello, my name is Father Charlie Bouchard, and I am here in St. Louis to offer you a word of hope on the readings for Tuesday of the fifth week of Ordinary Time. This passage, which we just read from the Gospel of Mark, is from a section of the Gospel that is obviously about food. Now, I don't know if that was a big theme for Mark or not, but at least in this particular part of the Gospel, we see in chapter 6 the story of feeding the 5,000. Then we see in chapter 8 the parable about feeding the 4,000. And here in chapter 7, right in the middle of those two, we have this kind of weird story about the disciples of Jesus not washing their hands before they eat. And these, in a way, seem kind of incongruous. Why would Mark put these two things together? But I think it has to do with, in the story, or the part of the story about washing your hands before you eat and maintaining ritual purity, I think really that story is about the boundaries that we all need in terms of our faith life. In other words, we need to be one thing and not another if we're going to be believers and followers of Jesus. That we have to demarcate, where the outside is, and not in a way to alienate people, but simply to define our own commitments in our own lives. And so the Jews developed these ritual purity rules, which were not really about dirt, but they were about things that were common as opposed to things that were holy. So if they were going to use an ordinary pan to eat a Sabbath meal, it had to be purified, not to get dirt off of it, but simply to say, all right, we're going to take this ordinary thing and we're going to use it for something holy. And that really gives us a hint about why the two stories of feeding those thousands of people are there. Because those are both examples where the disciples, who were very observant Jews, had to go outside of their normal boundaries and meet all these thousands of people and provide food for them. And there was no question there about who was pure and who was impure, or if they washed their hands or not. It was simply a question of leaving the confines or the boundaries of their own religious faith and help Jesus work this miracle of bread, as we might call it, two different times. And this creates a tension for all of us. I know that in our lives as Catholics, we have to live a certain kind of life according to our beliefs and our culture, and that kind of defines us. But then there's a moment at which we have to go out. We have to go out and, in a sense, do this miracle of bread and to serve the needs of people around us without regard for those boundaries and for those rituals that we hold very dear. So it's really a question about our internal faith and our external faith. And I think it's a good moment for us to recall the tension that we experience with that sometimes, but to remember that after our observances, in which we observe a lot of rules and we make things holy, we then go out into the world where there are common things and ordinary people and preach the gospel to them. And both of those things are part of our vocation as Christians.